In today's lesson, we're going to look at volume, what it is and how to calculate it. So what is volume? Well, volume is the amount of space a three-dimensional object occupies. Just like area, which is measured in units squared, volume is measured in units cubed. When we're talking about a figure is packed with units cubed, even if not all of the cubes are visible, even if we can't see them all, they're still part of the volume. So the two diagrams below, this is an example of volume expressed in units cubed, right? So here we have how many cubes? We've got 4 right here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have 4 rows of them here. So there are 16 total cubes. We could go ahead and count them up one at a time, which would take a while, especially for bigger shapes. Or we can count how many cubes are on one face and then multiply it by how many rows there are. In the second shape here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. Then we have 1, 2 going up. So the height of this right here is 4 by 2, which means just this section here in purple, just this here, there are 8 cubes. Now we have another 8 over here. But notice how we can't see all of the cubes on the bottom row, right? This row of cubes right here, we can't see them all. They're hidden by the ones in purple. But we have a total of 16 cubes there. So this would be, the volume of this one would be 16 units cubed. And we said this one would be 16 units cubed. So 2 different ways there actually to show volume, the same volume but with different shapes. So let's go ahead now and see if we can calculate the volume for different shapes and see if there's a way for us to come up with a formula that we can use for when we don't actually have a shape to even look at. We're just given numbers. So in this shape here, this is quite a tall stack. What we want to do is we're going to calculate the 3 different dimensions, right? There's a height of an object. And in this case, the height, I'll do it right here, is 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So right here, from top to bottom is 4 units. The width would be this part right here. So this is 2 units. And length is always the longest side. So we've got from here to here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So how many total cubes are there? Well, the really long way of doing this would be trying to count them all. Right, we'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's another 5 right below it. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then another 5. Right, this would take forever if we did this. But we can see right here, and I'll shade this in. This part here in green, there are 20 cubes. And then there's another 20 stacked behind it in the unshaded section. So is there a way that we can come up with 40 total cubes without having to count them all up and then multiply that way, then double it? So there is. And the way that we can do that is we can multiply the 3 dimensions together. So we can do 4 times 2 is 8. And 8 times 5 is 40. And then I believe it gave us a dimension here. It didn't. So this is going to be units cubed. There are 40 units cubed there. So if we take our height, our width, and our length, and we multiply them together, we can arrive at the answer without having to count the individual cubes. Let's try again with this one. All right, let's find the height first. So the height would be from here to here, right? And that's 3 units. All right, 1, 2, 3. We can see that that's the height. The width would be from here to here, and that is also 3 units. And then the length would be the 3rd dimension of this, which would be right here. And this is also 3 units. So again, I could go ahead and try to count all of these by hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 here in the green shaded section, which makes sense because we've got our 3 times 3. The height was 3. The width was 3, so 3 times 3 is 9. And then there are another 9 here and another 9 there. So for a total of 27. Or the easier way to do this would be to take the dimensions that we counted. We've got 3 times 3 is 9. And then 9 times 3 is 27. So our answer is 27 units cubed. So the way that we're doing it here with the formula of multiplying the height, the width, and the length together, that's going to be the most efficient way to do this. Because not every shape is going to have these cube units for you to look at and try to count. And some shapes are going to be complex. All right, this one looks a little easier, but we've got a height of 2, a width of 1, and a length of 3. So our volume here is 6 units cubed. So that shape takes up 6 cubic units of space. All right, so what is the formula that we were using? Basically, we're saying the volume is the length times the width times the height. And for now, that is the only formula we're concerned with. In fact, we're just going to cross this out and this out for now. We'll talk about those when I return to the classroom. Until then, we're just going to focus on length times width times height. So let's look at the first example. There are no cubic units here for us to even count in this problem, but we can use the formula. So we go ahead and write it down. V equals length times width times height. Then we're going to go ahead and plug in the values. So the volume equals the length is right here, that's 9. The width is right here, which is 6. And the height is 4. So we've substituted our length, width, and height with 9, 6, and 4. Now we can go ahead and calculate the volume. So 9 times 6 is 54. And then 54 times 4 is 216. And this time we have a label. Look, it's centimeters. So it's centimeters cubed. So what I'd like you to do now is try to find the volume for each of the 12 shapes here. Ignore the instructions for now. We're not going to roll the dice or anything like that. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to practice calculating the volume. You should do your work down below in this section here, and then write your answers up in the box. So for example, on the first one, we would do the work below. So we've got a length of 8, so number 1. Volume equals length times width times height. Volume equals 8 times 4 times 6. And the volume of that would be 192 centimeters cubed. We'll just write that here. There's our final answer. So go ahead and finish those off, and then you can start your classwork and homework for the day.